Good afternoon, St. Joseph School families. Well, it's May in Minnesota, and May means gardening season. Now, for the last few years, I've actually really grown to love gardening, pun intended. But I learned pretty quickly, don't grow things that you don't like to eat. So in our first year, we grew cucumbers, and they were cucumbers everywhere, and they were big. And then we got to eating them, and they were terrible. And so I learned the sweet spot is raspberries, pun intended. Raspberries are pretty easy to grow. Raspberries are wonderful to eat. Now, like a lot of gardeners, I learned from my many failures. One year we planted a lot of raspberry plants in July. The soil's too warm. They didn't take. One year we got them planted early, but they didn't get enough water, and a lot of those didn't take. Some years we grew some really nice plants, but every year the next spring they would be cut down to the ground because rabbits would come over the winter and eat them and trim them down. And with raspberries, they usually produce fruit year 2 and beyond, so if you're constantly starting over at year 1 with only a few year 2s, you don't bear much fruit. Until our last winter at our old house, we built a chicken wire fence around those raspberry plants, and it made all the difference. You know, Jesus must have a great place in his heart for gardeners because of the parable of the sower. For those of you that remember it, in the parable of the sower, a sower goes out and sows seed everywhere. Some of it lands on a path where it's immediately eaten by birds. Some of it lands on rocky soil where it doesn't grow because it has no depth. Some of it lands on soil that's surrounded by thorns, and the thorns grow up and choke around it. And some of the seed lands rather on good soil where it produces 20 or 30 fold. You know, the more and more I think about this is our work as a school. This is our work as parents, because we are constantly sowing seeds, whether those seeds are lessons, whether they are virtues, whether they are morals, whether they are classes, whether they are teachings in our kids. And we are always, like gardeners, working hard for our young people, trying to bring them to fruition and make good things happen for them. And it's a ton of work, and it's exhausting work, and it takes so much of us, but there is no greater reward than seeing the fruits of our labor, of good soil that yield a true bounty, as well as working with our kids and seeing them take on those great lessons that we give them. You know, last year over the summer, we moved out of our house, and it was a kind of an interesting experience, but there was a day where we went back to the house after we had moved to kind of clean up and get our final things from the house. And when we went to the backyard for the first time, it was absolutely loaded with raspberries. You know, as gardeners, as parents, as teachers, let's always keep praying for our kids and keep working hard for our kids, that they have great lives in abundance and learn the truths of our faith and embrace the great life that God has given them. And as gardeners, let's yield much fruit. Yes, pun intended. Thank you.